this is Michelle with Paladin Global Market. Today I'm excited to share with you an interview that I recently did with Sean from Taylor Exchange. Not only does he have a great YouTube channel, which I'll link in the description below, but he is also an online eBay reseller as well. So I hope you enjoy the interview. Let's get started.
Go from there. So, hey everyone, today I'd like to introduce to you one of my new friends I met through YouTube. He is a reseller online. I thought he had a really interesting story. His name is Sean, and he has his own channel as well. It's called Taylor Exchange. So I just wanted to bring him to you today and just ask him a couple of questions so that you can get to know him as well. So Sean, welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. We found each other, and I was really interested in Michelle's story too. But I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a part-time reseller in North Texas. I'm a full-time copier technician, so I go around town and I repair copiers. And I found eBay exactly 1 year ago, and I found it through YouTube. I used to go to a lot of garage sales, and at one point my wife was like, you know what, we don't need a lot of this stuff. But I kept telling her, there's a lot of good items out here, but you know, I didn't really connect two and two until I got on YouTube, and I just typed in garage sales, and I found Cincinnati Pickers videos, and then a lot of Josh, and I started watching it, and I was like, there's no way this is actually happening. People are making a lot of money, and it didn't seem that hard. So from then on, I watched a lot of YouTube channels of people doing it, and I figured out how to, you know, create an account and get my systems in play, and I learned how to ship items, and now after a year, I've made quite a bit of money doing it, and I have aspirations to do it full time.
Very, very cool. That's such an exciting story. I know that's YouTube has been such a big role in educating new resellers to see the potential out there. I think sometimes people are really scared of eBay, or they just don't know where to start. So that's super cool. What are some of the things that you enjoy reselling the most?
So whenever I started reselling, I did what a lot of people do and just looked around my house, and I was trying to make any type of sale because I had no clue. I mean, when you watch these resellers on YouTube, they're really fast with how they say what they're picking up and why they pick it up, that it's kind of hard to grasp it. So I really fell in love with shoes just because they were pretty quick sellers. And in my mind, you know, people use shoes and then they wear out, and some people have 30 to 50 pairs of shoes in their closet. Like, I don't consider myself a shoe guy, and I have at least 10 pairs of shoes because you know, you have boots, you have dress shoes, training shoes, and all sorts. So I really fell in love with shoes. That's why you can see the rack here above my shoulder.
I see it. Yep.
And then whenever I kind of figured out how to ship larger items, I really liked selling the VCRs. So VCRs have a tremendous sell-through rate, and that means that, you know, maybe there's only 20 items listed, but there might be 50 sold. So that means the sell-through rate it's a lot higher. And there's a lot of people that drop ship VCRs, and that's kind of an interesting concept where somebody's buying it from my eBay store and they're selling it to somebody else, but they're having me ship it to them.
Wow.
So that happens occasionally, but what's nice about it is, you know, they're making a little money, you're making what money you wanted off of the price you listed it for, and then somebody else is getting an item that they wanted, and they paid however much they wanted to pay for it. So VCRs are a really good seller. Sometimes they don't work, you know, sometimes people return them, but the amount of money you make off of them, especially if you're starting out, it's pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's some cool things. I know the biggest thing I get asked from my consignment clients, because I resell things for other people who just aren't comfortable with that, or just don't even want to mess with it, is what are some really good things to resell? I think a lot of people probably would not consider VCRs. They'd be like, oh, everybody does DVDs. But that's really cool that there's a really good market out there, isn't there, for those type of things?
Yeah, and that market's created because the generation that is dying off right now, they have a lot of those VHS tapes, and then their, you know, sons and grandsons and granddaughters and whatnot, they don't have any type of way to play that media. So there's a lot of Christmases and Thanksgivings that they're missing out on. So Best Buy, you can buy a DVD combo unit or a converter, and you're going to have to pay $250 to $300. So the next best thing is going to eBay and finding one for, you know, I usually list the name brand ones anywhere from $60 upwards to $160. And some of the lower end VCRs I list for $40. And they're constant sellers. So I've sold probably 20 or 30 in the last couple months.
That's awesome. So I'm sorry, how much do you normally do free shipping, or do you have your buyer pay for the shipping on those?
So there's like two parties in this discussion about the shipping, free shipping, and flat rate shipping. So I'm in the free shipping category.
Okay.
Now I am new to eBay reselling.
Mm-hmm.
However, the person that showed me how to do it, he mentioned whenever you list something as free, you incorporate the cost of the shipping. So you do have to understand what an item will ship for before you buy it. And that's something you have to calculate to determine how much you can spend on the item and how much you can list it for. Now, there's calculated shipping on eBay where eBay will generate the cost based on where they live. And then there's flat rate shipping where people say all, first class items under £1, they're going to charge $5 regardless. So if somebody's in the same state as you and it costs $3 to ship, they're still going to have to pay the $5, which a lot of buyers don't understand how much it costs to ship. Yeah. I'm in the opinion of, if I'm buying on eBay or Amazon and I see an item for $19.99 free shipping, then I know I'll just have to pay a sales tax. What I don't like as a buyer is if it's an item for $19.99 and then there's $7.50 shipping. After sales tax, you're over $30 out the door on the item. And in your head, you think, well, I'm not paying a lot because it's $19.99, but then it ends up being a lot. So with my prices, I would price it at $29.99 free shipping as opposed to the $19.99 with the added on shipping.
Very cool. Yeah, I've gone back and forth on this, and I have to say right now I've been doing the calculated shipping, but just earlier today I was considering maybe I should go back and try to play around with the free shipping again, and calculate into my pricing, because I know everybody's used to that with Amazon and that type of thing. And it kind of is like, so I'm seeing both ways.
Yeah. And, I actually got in a discussion with a gentleman Friday night on a live where he was saying I was losing out on a lot of money, but every month I've been reselling, I've made more and more money. And
that's awesome.
I don't know, like, it's easier for me to set up. And as a buyer, there's a lot of buyers that they click free shipping, lowest price first. That's true. If my item is $29.99 free shipping, and then your item is $24.99 with $5 shipping, I'm not really sure whose item is going to rank. And that might be a good experiment to run on your own listings. Yeah. Maybe list the same exact item at two different ways and see which one gets a little higher. Because especially on Amazon, how competitive that is, it all matters on how high your item is on that little column to the right, when you're looking for items. So I'm not going to change my ways just because other people say they're making money, because when it comes down to it, you're your own boss. And that's what's great about reselling and eBay is, you determine, you gotta ship your items every day, but you determine your price. You determine whether you want to accept offers or send out offers.
Right. And you brought up a great point too regarding the free shipping, because so many of the buyers nowadays are buying it from their cell phones. And so, and the item specifics and the different filters that they can use to just kind of weed out and faster and better and more convenient. That's a great point, as far as a lot of buyers may not even be seeing some of the listings that have shipping as an extra fee. So thanks for bringing that up. I'll have to consider that one. I have 2 pairs of shoes I need to list. Actually, when we get done interviewing, I'll have to do one with free shipping, one without. Perform my own test. So tell me, what is the best flip that you have had so far? Was one thing stand out where you made the most amount of money? It was just really cool.
Absolutely. So this was probably maybe 6 months ago. I was at one of the local thrift stores, a smaller one. They do like the faith mission, a lot of their money goes to them. And I've made some good relations with the workers, and then a couple people there buy a lot of items that I see all the time. And this one gentleman buys a lot of like vintage items, and he knows that I was selling electronics, and he said I should buy this scanner. Now, it's not like your barcode scanner you would see at Walmart, like at the register, but the barcode scanner that they would be carrying as a store worker to scan all the UPCs and then maybe program prices for it. And so it was like a big device, and, it looked expensive. I could tell it was well made, and I think it was $2.99. So I went ahead and bought it. I didn't know how to use it. I couldn't find any comps on it right away. So that was probably just me not knowing how to type in exactly what it was, because it was a little tricky one to figure out the model and brand. And I got home and I decided to list it for $149.99. Well, I instantly got a message from somebody saying, he couldn't believe the price was that low, and he told me they were selling for a lot more. So I did another search when I was at my desktop, and I raised the price. I raised it to $399.99, and it sold the next day
Oh
for,
my gosh.
yeah. And it sold for full price, and I think after fees and everything, I made like $336 because eBay takes that 10%. But that was from that gentleman. I thought about giving him $20. I made such a good profit off of it. But yeah, I mean, those types of things. So since I learned about that, I look for business equipment quite a bit.
Okay.
And that was definitely my biggest flip. I was super excited about it. It doesn't happen every time, but yeah, that was great.
It's cool. It's really fun when you come across those. I know it's not the unique day-to-day bread and butter type of things, but I think every eBay reseller has one of those really cool stories. What would you say for your business has been the biggest challenge over this last year?
It's been a lot of fun. You know, the main challenges are in the beginning. So figuring out how to ship items is extremely challenging on eBay. You know, it's not like Amazon where if you set up an account, you just send them the items and they'll take care of all that. You know, figuring out how to not lose money, and then figuring out how much to spend on items, because sometimes you look at comps whenever you see what the other items have sold for, and then they accept a best offer, so they don't actually sell it for the price that it shows there in green. And that can be tricky, you know, figuring out how much to spend. So I had the mindset of spending $5 or less on any item because it was a safe bet. You know, you lose a couple bucks if it's a bust, or you just make your money back, or you have a garage sale and you could typically get your $3 to $4 back. So I guess now at the point, the biggest challenge is storage. You know, I have 241 items on my store, and I probably have another 15 that I need to list right now. And I'm kind of getting to like max capacity. I have a storage rack with 12 bins, and they're labeled, and those are all full. A lot of them have jeans and some shirts. You know, I got into a jean phase where I was buying a lot of jeans because they are easy to store and they're easy to ship. So
a lot of people wear them.
A lot of people wear them, and there's a lot in my area. So you kind of have to source your area. You know, this is it's a country town. You know, there's a lot of good Western brands here, and not just Wrangler, but like Cinch jeans and Ariat boots and Ariat jeans. I mean, there's some really good brands because we have like cowboy type stores. So I source a lot of cowboy clothes. And then I have 3 shoe racks. I have 2 over here that are stacked, and then I have another one next to it. And those are pretty full too. And then the closet behind me has a few items too. So my goal for the next year is I'm going to work my full-time job for another physical year. I'm going to build a shed in my backyard, and I'm going to put all my woodworking equipment and saws and lawnmowers and all that good stuff is going to go there. And half of my garage is going to become like a warehouse. I'm going to get another couple racks and just go with that, because, you know, it's nice to keep your store in one room, but once you get up to a certain number of items, it can get a little tricky. And there's a lot of ways to look at it, because you can have a store with 100 items as long as they're constantly selling and, you know, you're making enough money that you want to make on them. But, you know, I kind of like having a lot of shoes that'll kind of trickle and bridge the gaps in the sales before I hit the home runs, like those scanners or some of the really good combo units, or home theater, like hi-fi equipment, like receivers. I hit really big on a Denon receiver at a garage sale. I paid $20 for it, and I listed it for $349.99 with free shipping, and I got an offer of $325 within 2 hours.
That's awesome.
And I accepted, because, you know, I'm not trying to get rich on any one item. I just want to have a lot of items
and keep it selling through. That's fantastic. I think that was my biggest, after learning the beginnings. I've been doing this, like we talked about, I've been doing about 16 years. And the biggest thing after learning all the new stuff, and then making sure I'm buying stuff low enough and really factoring in the fees and the shipping and the packing materials and all that, was storage. And I had myself worked up to I had a mobile mini at my home, and I had 2 storage units as well. And then I started getting better about, making sure I was just bringing in stuff that I knew for sure was going to sell quickly, so that I can keep it rolling, because it all goes into the bottom line profit, you know? It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, I've kind of been like that, just because having the capital to spend items was an issue from the beginning. I spent maybe $100 on product lighting and setting up, photographs. And I had an iPad mini I was doing all my photos with because I had the best camera. And after that initial investment of about $100, I didn't have much money to go buy items, and I didn't know what to buy. I lost out on a couple things because it was just bad purchases, like mugs you think might sell that are never going to sell. But once you understand the sell-through rate, I typically only buy items if it's equal to the amount of listings that's sold, or there's more sold than listings. So
so say that again. Re-explain that.
Yeah. So let's just say like this Nintendo controller.
Okay.
It's like a green one. So it sells for $30. It's not the jungle green, which is the clear one, but it's just like the solid green. It sells for $30. And I paid $4 for it. And the only reason I paid the $4, which I wasn't going to pay $10, $5 was going to be the max on this item at $30. And I list it for free shipping.
Okay.
So that item, I think there was like 160 listed, but there was like maybe 600 sold. So because there's more solds than listed, it's probably going to sell within 3 months, and probably even faster than that. You can really break down the math, but that's it's almost like a fail safe. So if there was 100, if there's 100 of those listed and 100 sold, if you list yours today, it'll take, based on those numbers, 90 days to sell. So I try to stick by that rule. The only time I don't is if it's a big bundle of items. Sometimes you can't get away with just cherry picking. Sometimes. And then the time it takes to do each search. But, I got really good on the phone and I can do them pretty fast. And I kind of know after you see a couple items over and over again, next time I go to a garage sale and see that controller for the N64, I won't even look it up. I'll just know, it's a hot controller and I'm going to pay no more than $5 for it. So I actually talked her down from 5 to 4 on that one at the garage.
I love it. Hey, it all adds up. If you total it up over the end of the year, that dollar here, I always teach for my eBay course, I teach my students, never just pay what they ask. You're not being rude. It's the art of negotiation. Even if it's like you said, just chalk them down $1, those dollars add up, over the course of the year.
And if she would have asked me, what do I want to pay? I always say $1, even if it's like obviously really expensive. And I just laugh about it because, some get offended, but if they're giving you the option, why would you say, oh, I'll pay, $50 for that? Exactly. I'm not going to pay market value for the item. I'm going to pay what I want to pay, which is pretty much nothing.
Right.
But it's just part of it, and I use my charisma and like my ability to talk with people and joke with them and make them laugh to help the awkwardness. And, I have the GoPro filming, so I'm trying not to like, I'll tell them, do you want to be on film afterwards, and most of the time they don't have a problem with it.
Oh, that's cool. I've had to do the blurring and stuff like that, or try to, I've been trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, it's awkward at first trying to videotape, but people are getting more used to cameras being around.
They are.
As time goes on.
I noticed on your videos that it's really like you don't hear whatever you have holding your GoPro, it doesn't like move around. Like the first couple ones, I started doing that for my garage sale videos just to help, because everybody kept asking me, well, what do you look for? I don't know what to look for. What do you sell? But my bag kept making a squishy sound. What do you use to help hold your GoPro? Is it like way out in the open for people to see?
I just got the GoPro. Like I'm just new to doing GoPro footage. Like I've been doing YouTube for about 6 weeks now.
Okay.
And I bought this clip for the GoPro, and it goes on your backpack. So I just have it right here on my backpack. I wear a full backpack. Okay. So that's kind of weird in itself when you see a guy get out of the truck with like a backpack and like this camera. But I found it to be pretty easy. Some people wear like the one-arm slings, and then they just put it straight in the middle. But the backpack, I just cinch it pretty tight, and then I have that there. And, I try to do good footage, but you get such a rush when you're at the garage sale because it's split seconds between grabbing like an item and missing it. My video that I'm editing right now, there's this yellow Keurig that was selling for $5. It was just the single cup one, but one person was taking photos of it to send to her mom, but she never said anything to the lady doing the sale. Well, I walked up and I was looking at it and I told the lady, I said, I'm going to buy this. And she said, sure. Okay. And then the other lady was like, I was just taking photos of it. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, but I wasn't going to like give it up because she didn't claim it, so you got to be really quick.
Yeah.
But then another gentleman came because I was kind of looking at it and he said he was going to buy it. And I said, I've already bought it. I haven't paid her yet, but like people were on the item instantly because it was like one of the better items she had.
And they
So
do that. I remember going to an estate sale one time, and my niche, I love old cameras, and have always been a
nice.
really good flip for me as well. I always want to try to keep them, but I don't. I sell them. But I went to an estate sale, and unfortunately, her father, who had passed away, his whole table, it was full of equipment. So I like started gathering it all together, and like, because people do, they'll start getting it. The good stuff goes quick, so you got to be quick about it. That's cool.
Yeah, I bought the big IKEA blue bags. So
Smart.
I upped my game a little bit. It was like $8 with free shipping for 2 of them. So they help carry the packages to the post office, and I can kind of just stash stuff in there. I came across a Nikon, a D90, the camera, and they wanted $125 for it at the estate sale. So I knew I couldn't pay that, but it was comping at about $250.
Okay.
And I couldn't get it to work though. Like, I think the battery was just dead on it. So I left it on the charger, and I told him I would come back today, but I'm not going to go back today, because even if it was half off, which is the next day, at like what, $75 or whatever it would be, it still is like it's way too high. It'd be 65, but it'd be way too high.
Yeah, especially if you're having some issues with it, you want to make sure, type of thing. You got to watch too on the one thing I've learned. You want to go through the triggers of it. You also want to make sure the lenses aren't scratched from the inside and the outside, and open it up and make sure there's no battery that's been dead or corroded.
I'm glad you said you were good into cameras, because I just bought a camera bag, and it had some of the wide angle lenses. It had one wide angle lens, and then it had another, like the bigger lens. I don't know what they call that, but it was just the bag, those 2 lenses, some manuals, and the smallest lens, the wide angle one, it goes for like $60. So I paid $1 for the whole bag at Goodwill. It was it was $6.99, but it was colored for 99 cents. And I guess the bag looked really beat up, and maybe nobody just looked in, and the camera wasn't there, but the lenses. So I paid that $1 as like a investment just to learn. So I had it at my house. I had to look it up, because I couldn't figure out how to look it up at the store. There's too many numbers on the dials, and I didn't know what I was looking at. Well, now I have a little bit of an education just from spending the $1 and taking 10 to 15 minutes to figure it out. So I'm pretty happy about that. I have it listed. I think it's going to be a little slower mover. So on that one, the sell-through rate's not as high, but for $1, if you're going to get like an item 50 plus, like I'm okay with keeping it. And if it's small, like say it was a giant item and it had a slow sell-through rate with a potential $40 profit, I may not buy it just because I know it's going to be a hassle to move around.
Yeah, cash flow. Yeah.
Well, just a store though. I mean, it's going to be way. I only have, this is a 13 by 10 room, so it's it's pretty small, and I already have a lot of items. So that's a lot of those come into determining how you want to, deal with your items, because you may have an item for 6 months. You just don't know.
You do, and then I find too, like I'm the same with you. Like I like shoes as well. It's a good bread and butter for my business, but you may have a buyer that comes across it and they really love your shoe, but it's just not quite the right size or something like that. So it's something that sometimes takes a little bit longer to sell through, but they sell consistently all day long. Yeah. And the cameras, cameras are fun. They're really good. Just make sure you move all the moving parts, and then check through the viewfinder if you have the camera body itself. But usually the Nikons, the Canons. I usually don't do the off-name brands. I kind of try to stay away from those, because as you'll see when you run the comps, they aren't as well. But they're pretty cool. Very cool. So I have some questions here. Let's see. So what advice would you give our listeners if they're wanting to start out to resell on eBay?
I think the first thing would be is understand, like, you're not going to make a lot of money fast. I mean, eBay actually governs you from doing so many like money amount in sales. Like, I don't know if it's like $1,000 or a number of sales, but they'll actually govern you, because they think something's wrong, because they know that it takes a while for people to really get momentum and figure out the items there. And the other thing is just to go for it. Like, don't be too concerned that your photos aren't perfect. I mean, the guy who told me about it, he makes $100K a year, and he uses a white blanket for his backdrop, and he takes pictures on his bed with his cell phone. And it really comes down to having the right item. Like, if you have an old item, that people don't want, like, it'll never sell. No matter how perfect and Photoshopped the photo is, it'll never sell if there's no market for it. So you can have a terrible photo on just your kitchen counter, but as long as it's like an item that people want, it's going to sell instantly. A great example is this. This is a bolo kind of find to be on the lookout for. This
All
is
right.
NCAA 14 for the Xbox 360. If you find this game for any type of system, it's a $100 game. So this is the last time that NCAA made a game. They don't have them anymore. And I paid $2 at a garage sale for this yesterday, and I listed it for $99.99 free shipping, and it sold like 2 hours ago.
That's awesome. Good job.
It's the first time I found it. Yeah, it's the first time I found it, but people talk about it, and honestly, like, if you know a lot of like sports people, like that played sports growing up, they probably have this sitting on their media like tower, you know, because they don't know. Like a lot of the other sporting games with the numbers by them, Madden 14, 15, they have like zero value. But this one is special because it's the very last one.
That's so cool. Good to know. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. So I talking to you before, I was very impressed with the amount of research that you do. You're like me. I love learning and hearing from other sellers and what to look out for. What are some of your favorite channels that you like to listen to?
I was a diehard Lotta Josh fan. So his name is Josh. He goes by Lotta Josh on YouTube. And he's in the tri-state area, and whenever the coronavirus hit, he actually kind of stopped reselling. He went, and now he works for Amazon, is what I heard from another reseller on one of their videos. So he was an officer in the military, but his videos are very clean. He's he's a great instructor, you know. So I learned quite a bit from him. Some of the bigger channels are so big that they don't really go over like basic things as much because, you know, they're kind of showing off like the great finds and the great sales, which is fine. You know, it's entertaining to watch, but he would really break down like you can learn with him because he documents about 1.5 years of he was part-time as an officer in the Army reselling. And then for a year he went full-time. So I mainly watched him. And at one point, I think he had like 4,000 subscribers. I actually emailed him and he emailed me back.
Really?
So that was pretty cool. And I wish I would have said better things as far as like better questions and things about YouTube, but I wasn't on YouTube at the time and I wasn't really great at reselling, but it was really great to have somebody like that reach out because I was following them every day and I was trying to keep up with them. Aside from him, now that I've started YouTubing, there are tons of channels. I would suggest seeing like anybody who really comments on my page on the videos, like, you know, some of them are resellers and the list goes on. Once you get into YouTube, it's kind of like anything else. Like you have a lot of followers and then you have a lot of people that you like to watch. So now I kind of just watch tidbits of a bunch of people because I've already figured my systems out. But if you're trying to learn, like I would still go back and watch a lot of Josh's. His are pretty tremendous, like especially his earlier ones when he explains things. I do like the Rockstar Flipper. His name's Casey. He has over 100,000 subscribers. So he has a huge following. But I think whenever I typed into YouTube how to ship items, his is the video that I watched and he was very direct about it. Maybe there's more since then because it seemed like people, it's like a copycat kind of thing, you know. Everyone wants to kind of like follow the big people to see if they can grow like them, but his video is really direct and I was able to find that. So whenever I'm making videos, sometimes I'll try to specifically title it a certain question that I would have as a new reseller, but I'm still getting in the swing of what kind of videos I want to do each week and like where I want to do it because, you know, it's a lot. A lot goes into making videos, as you know. It
does. I've learned recently. I just finished doing. Have you heard of Sean Cannell? Cannell. He has Think Media. He does a lot of product reviews online, but his whole thing is to teach people how to, you know, just rock it at YouTube and really try to get your videos ranked. And he teaches how it's called Video Ranking Academy. I highly recommend it. So what he does is he teaches you how to reverse engineer. Like when I started doing my videos, I was just, you know, like I just start making the video and then I think of my thumbnail, then I think of my keyword and go back. But he teaches you how to reverse engineer it. You want to consider your keywords first. I use vidIQ and they do have a free service if I remember correctly. I do pay a little bit for it, but it tells me what people are searching for already, so I can help them. Like I just said, how to find the sold item. Simple things, like you said, things that when you're selling for a while, you forget how it is to be in a new seller's position. So it's great to give you ideas on how to make your videos, and then you can use Google Keyword Planner to look at use that same title that you find from vidIQ, go to Google Keyword Planner, and see how many people truly are searching for it just on the Google platform itself. And then it'll help you hone in on your titles so that you can reach more people and help more people, which I know that you enjoy doing.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So That's pretty tremendous to know how to push your video a little bit higher.
Yeah.
The other side of it is like, I want my videos to be a little better too. Like I would hate to have like the
wow.
#1 ranked video and somebody's like, who is this guy? Like, why is it so terrible compared to these other high ranked videos? So I just got Wondershare Filmora. I paid $70 and you get like a lifetime, the software.
Okay.
And after when I first got it, it still took forever to make a video. And I was like, why is it taking so long? Because I was using my mouse. Now I use the keyboard a little more with the quick keys, and it's going a lot faster. So I'm still polishing up like how much of each clip to put into the video and how many clips period to put in. So I'm getting a little bit better at it, but I feel like I'm starting to figure it out. But yeah, it can take hours.
Oh my gosh, I know. I have found, I just Friday, I went ahead and batch recorded like 9 different YouTube videos because after I found my keywords and stuff like that, because I'm like, it's taken so long you get into a rhythm, you learn, and then you'll get faster at it. But everybody starts somewhere. And I've seen your channel. I think it's great. I think you did an excellent job. And we'll just continue to get better and better as we continue to do our videos. You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Doc. Yeah.
I was going to say, anytime I have a question with anything, and like I repair copiers. So like I work with a lot of people who don't understand copiers, which they're kind of intimidating. And then I have a lot of IT questions. Sometimes right when I'm talking to them about it, I don't know. So I'll just Google it in front of them and show them how I research answers, because as long as you have the internet, you can source and find the answer for what you're looking for. And now that a lot of people are doing YouTube, you can find specific videos for that exact task.
Yeah.
One example is I bought a new truck and it didn't have a receiver hitch to put the ball on. So I was going to have it done in town, and I think it was $300 to get it bought and installed. And on Amazon, they had the same receiver for $160. So I just ordered it, and I had my neighbor help me, which you have to have 2 guys. And I watched a video. I watched 3 different videos, and I figured out how to do it. So I saved, it did take an hour to do, but I saved a lot of money just because I was able to YouTube it and find the answer. So with reselling, it's the same way.
Yeah, I remember fixing my garbage disposal one time for the same exact thing. I was like, I know there has to be a way to fix this. And sure enough, YouTube had the video for me. So it was really cool.
You're typically not the first person with the problem,
No, not at all. That's exciting. Well, so one thing, what would you want to, as we end up this interview, what would be the biggest thing that you would tell people as far as, I know you've already said, just start doing it. Is there some type of advice that you would tell them going out the gate?
Yeah.
Getting started.
Go type in Taylor Exchange on YouTube and watch every single one of my videos.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm just kidding. That was just a shameless plug. So I would say if you're starting today and you want to resell, just go around your house, look for brand name items, look it up on the eBay app, and search the filter on solds and see if it has any value. So the faster you can get at searching for items on your phone, the more confidence you're going to have when you go to the thrift stores. Because when you go there, it's very intimidating. There's a lot of buyers there and there's a lot of resellers there. And sometimes you can be searching an item and people will grab it off the rack. So if you see an item you want to buy at the store, put it in your cart, because that's kind of like an unwritten rule that no one's going to take anything out of your basket, which sometimes if you have a lot of shoes, though, people think you work there and they will try to take it, and you have to fight them off. Just beat them with a stick.
Kind of put your hand over like, hey.
Yeah. But I guess it would just be, watch YouTube, research items at your house, things you don't have to spend money on, because the first item I sold was an Oakley's hard shell case for my sunglasses that I never used. I looked it up. It was going for about, I think, $15, and I listed mine for $9.99 with free shipping, because that's what I followed my friend's advice. And I got an offer for $9 within 2 hours, and I made $4 off of it. And it was like the happiest day. I was like, I can't believe I just made money. I was about to throw this in the trash or the garage sale and get a quarter for it or whatever. But
plus, you learned. It was a win. Something around your house that you can. There's no risk in it, because you're gonna, like you said, throw it away or donate it.
Yeah,
so
I guess speaking of the risk, look for items under £1, T-shirts, things like that, because the worst case scenario is you pay $5.40 to ship it, you make a couple bucks, but you get the idea. And I was so nervous the item wouldn't get there. I kept thinking it'd get lost in shipping. I don't know why, but I kept thinking that was going to happen, and it doesn't. I've had one item lost out of like 900 shipped
Yeah,
items. So
I haven't
doesn't
had
happen.
that same thing. It doesn't happen very often, thankfully. And I know I typically will do the priority mail, or of course, I've heard recently I stayed away from first class shipping because I didn't think it had tracking, and I should know this, but someone told me recently, no, they do have tracking, but I just keep
Somebody
putting it
said
in the
media
mailbox.
mail does not have tracking. That's what I heard.
Media.
Media
Okay.
mail. So like your books and educational things like
They don't
like
have
that.
it.
The books mainly. Yeah,
College
that one does not. So
textbooks.
those people typically use first class if they want the tracking. And then
Yeah.
priority mail, a lot of people don't know, has a built-in $50 insurance
I love
on
it.
priority mail shipping.
Yep, it is. And it's fast. And that's another thing too, when you're looking at running your eBay business, it's not only you price everything right, you do everything right, you package it, you ship it, but going up and above and trying to get that item to them quickly will also get you great feedback as a seller and build your rating. So it's a good thing. I like it.
Absolutely.
Well, Sean, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much. Yes, everybody, go visit his channel for sure. Taylor Exchange. I highly recommend him. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. You guys have a great day.
Michelle. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.